Benjamin.
What's up, man?
Welcome to the Our Day Off podcast, PRI edition, brought to you by Race Driven and Mickey Thompson, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Isn't that kind of sick?
That's awesome.
Dude, so this is like full circle. We were just talking off air how Ben was like the guy who got me started in podcasting.
Yeah.
You had me to your house, and you had me on your podcast, and I literally fell in love with it.
Dude, podcasting is so much fun. Obviously, like I was saying, I don't do it much anymore. Like it's been since just about that podcast that I stopped, not because I wanted to, but because it's kind of hard to keep her moving and keep motivated while you're racing during the summer and at the same time as racing, you know, doing these podcasts in between, and it gets a little hard. But
yeah, dude, it's a grind. There's a lot of stuff, as you can see here too. Mine's kind of escalated to something a little bigger, you know. So like we've got camera gear and like an actual producer and like things going on now. So it's kind of a big deal. And I've again still love it, but I'm trying to further it too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to go to the next level.
A lot more.
So yeah, and I'm not stepping back from racing necessarily, but it's just like it's been so much.
Yeah.
And then to try to do other things on top of it has been really hard. So I'm trying to take more of a role of being the guy who's going to help people like yourself.
Yeah.
Or help the next guy coming up, or help the racers that are already racing, that are really putting their time in, you know, get you on the podcast. You know, let's talk about your season, you know, tell me what next year looks like. You know, what are your goals? Like, that's what I want to hear. You know, I want to help people. So hopefully this brings that aspect into the racing community a little bit with the off-road, because off-road's kind of, you know, as big as it is, it's still a small community.
Yeah. It's,
you know,
it's like, I think it was Jimmy Johnson that said, best kept secret. Like
really,
he said it because he used to race off-road. That's where he came from pretty much. And he raced at Crandon a lot, but it's just hidden. It's huge. Everybody knows about it, but it's hidden at the same time.
Yeah, and it's in these weird, obscure places, you know, that you got
like
to travel.
Johnson Valley.
Yeah, Johnson Valley in the middle of the desert, where they build an absolute city just to go racing.
30,000 people in a town that just pops up for 3 weeks and then it's gone.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy thing. Hammers is a one of a kind.
Oh,
Hammers is something that it was, you know, obviously built by Dave Colin, and it's just like the epitome of off-road racing. It has every kind of racing other than short course, which it has a little bit of now.
It has
a little bit now
as well.
But it's just come so far, you know. And so you're racing, just so everyone knows, so all of our listeners and viewers know, you're a short course racer. So you race at Crandon and Bark River, and Bark River's your home track.
Yep.
You're like right down the street.
10 minutes away.
Yeah, 10 minutes from Bark River is your place. And your dad owns Race Driven. And you guys have been really putting in the work the last, how many years? How many years have you been racing now?
This is going on my 7th season, I think.
7th season, dude.
Yep.
That's wild. All the way from short course karts. All the way up to where you are now, racing almost pro mod, right?
We are going to be running pro stock this year, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'll race Bark River and Crandon pro side-by-side, because we still have the car, and that thing rips. So
yeah, thing's an absolute assassin.
I have very high expectations for myself.
Good.
But I absolutely love driving the turbo car. Oh, like, I love driving NA cars and turbo cars, but turbo cars just have something special.
Yeah.
Like, you can flick those things in and not even worry about it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
those things are sweet.
Same, buddy. There's something special about being able to set that car in a corner and just roll on the throttle, and it's got you set back in the seat, and you're just feeling the power, and you're sideways at the same time, and then you leave the jump at the same. Oh, dude, like, there's something special about that.
Coming into barn turn, I looked at my aim data, and when I hit the brakes and set, I'm doing 60. But that's when I'm on the brakes. I'm entering at like 75. And then you hit the brakes and you set and you scrub all the way down to like 35.
Yeah.
Going through that corner. And that's badass.
Yeah, it's such a feeling. You know, a lot of people, we were talking about the iRacing, you know, behind us here. I don't know, you guys might be able to hear it in the mics, but there's a really large disconnect between sim and real life.
Yeah.
And, you know, so like the average person can go ahead and like get on a sim and like feel close, you know, it'll get you close, but there's something special. There's something missing that you just don't get with real life. Like that feeling of being in a race car, the air, the dirt hitting you, like just everything about it. It's almost like, and I don't know how it is for you, but for me, especially with dirt biking. Like when I was younger coming up, like dirt biking was my place where I can shut everything off.
Yep.
You know, there's no other outside distractions. There's no phone in there with you. Like you're just locked into a certain thing and you're like feeling it, you know?
Yeah.
And that has definitely carried over to side-by-sides too. Cause you know, like when hammers particular for me, I'm in the car for hours,
Yeah.
you know, for a long time.
When I raced it, I was in there for 6.5 hours. And I remember telling my co-driver, John, was like, I have never drove that long, that like straight ever.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have since. Like I've drove long distances going to races now because I can actually drive, but it's like at the time I had just gotten my license the year prior and I hadn't ever drove more than a couple hours. And short course, you race for 9 minutes plus a lap in Pro-Am and then you're done.
Yeah.
At hammers, we started at, what was it, 8 in the morning?
Yeah.
And I didn't get back to Hammertown till whatever that would be. It would be like 2 or 3 p.m.
That's pretty wild to think that the first time you've ever drove a vehicle, long distance quotes, was in King of the Hammers in a race car.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Like that was the first huge drive I've ever done.
That's awesome.
Like since then,
the hardest race in the country.
Yeah. Since then, I've drove the toter to races and I've drove trailers everywhere. Like whether it was for work or for racing or just for whatever. But I still have not drove longer than I did at Hammers that day.
That's so cool. That's so cool. How long can you go before you like break that record? You know what I mean? Like how long do you think it's going to be before you drive longer than 6 hours?
I like without stopping.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
That's going to be a minute.
Because like really the only stop that we made was we got out to inspect the car when we got through now I don't remember the trail names, but it was
it the one where you like tipped over?
No, it was actually before that because I didn't get out of the car.
Okay.
It was
because you rolled in King's Vito, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I rolled in King's Vito, but it was like I don't remember what the trail was called.
Either way,
we got out to just look, and that was when the sway bar had broke, which in hindsight we should have just taken it off to begin with.
Yeah,
really we didn't need it at that point.
Right.
But that was the only time we ever got out. We got right back in, kept going, and then I rolled in King's Vito, and I didn't get out, but John got out and basically hulked me over and just shoved the car, and I was back on all four and made it down wet King's Vito.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having a co-driver, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You had a little bit of help in that stuff.
Yeah.
I try not to do that.
I'll tell you what, if I went solo like you did, I'd probably be sitting at King's Vito still. Like
we would have rescued you, bro. We would have came after you.
Yeah, the car would be sitting there though.
That's so funny. Yeah.
There's no way, dude. I couldn't have made it through that race without John. Like,
yeah. Co-drivers definitely is a game changer for most people.
John, he obviously came from the background of rally and rhino charge over in Africa and stuff. And then he ended up, like, the way we met him was he moved to the States and started a winery in Bark River.
I didn't know he had a winery.
He's got a winery, and it's, so you know where the track is, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
If you keep going down that road, his winery is right there.
No kidding.
Yep.
That's cool.
Northern Sun, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that about him.
And like,
I can't believe that never came up.
So I think he was running his winery and working for us.
Yeah.
As a parts guy. And then he left to focus on his wine. And then all of a sudden, me and my dad got the bright idea, let's go race hammers. Well, who's got the experience other than Matt, who races it and won't co-drive for me because he's racing it? And we're like, well, like, at first we were throwing around the idea of me and Bryce. Yeah. That was the first idea. And then we're like, we're both too young to do that. Like,
yeah, you're both rookies at that point.
It was like,
it would be a sweet story though.
Cool.
Yeah.
But what happens if we're stranded in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got two 16-year-old kids in the middle of the desert. Like, that's
a big ask. That's a big ask for your first run too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to have somebody that has at least some sort of co-driving experience or, navigation experience, to know where you're at.
And that was like, John, obviously he's driven as well, but he's most of his life been the co-driver.
Yeah.
He's been the co-dog. Like, whether he was at Rhino Charge cutting bushes down to get through or
Wild.
just co-dogging with somebody in rally.
Yeah.
And so he loves King of the Hammers. Like, him and all of his boys back in Africa love KOH.
That's
They're,
so
like,
cool.
So when we went to him, he was like, I'll go. That's my
He's
dream.
in.
That was his dream. Like, he was so happy that we gave him that opportunity. And then when we finally got there, every night he'd start a video back to his guys back in Africa.
That's
like,
so cool.
We're here. This is what our day looked like. We were pre-running all day. We did these trails, this trail. We hit 100 out in the desert. Like, we were just ripping all day.
That's so cool that he was into it that much, you know?
Yeah. And he's got so much like knowledge of the sport and of rock crawling that I didn't have.
Cool.
Because before KOH, I had went to Winrock and ran some rocks with CJ and Johnny and Jeb and stuff like that. And then I did the Crandon rock race.
That barely counts.
Yeah.
That barely counts. Hey, and good news is you did it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Dude, I look back every once in a while and I see those photos of us standing on the podium with our trophies. Like, dude, that was a moment.
Awesome.
Like, I think about that quite often. And like, me and your dad have talked a bunch of times about it. And it's like, you know, racing gives you this like just anxiety and like you're just overwhelmed and like, you know, on your dad's end, it's like the money. Like, it's so expensive. And you just get down on yourself because it's like, you know, it's like bad thing, good thing.
Yep.
And you get pumped again, and then bad. And it's just like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending this money? What's happening? You know? And then for me, like lately, you know, looking back on it, since I haven't really been racing at all, as I look back at like those old photos, I'm like, dude, it's kind of hard to beat that. Like that's what it's all about, really. It's like just being out in that environment with your friends, like doing stuff that no one is ever going to get to do. You know, like think of the amount of people that get to do the things that we do. Like very
yeah, exactly.
Very far and few between.
Especially the off-road community. Like, there's tons of different forms of racing. There's asphalt, there's dirt circle track, there's ice race in the winter. There's a million forms of racing, but nothing really hits it like off-road does, and especially those big ones like Crandon or KOH, or especially KOH. Like, that hits just a whole different thing. Yeah, Hammers is a special thing. And we said that early on in the combo. And there's those certain racetracks that just they have a vibe. Yeah. You know, if it's almost like they have like they have an aura, you know, they have an aura about them, you know, and everyone's a little bit different, but there's a certain amount that are just crazy. Like, I even think about like, most days I think about that race at KOH and whether we get to go back in the future or if me and my dad never go back, it's still the coolest thing. And I still think of, there was this trail that we went through and we skipped on up and passed a bunch of dudes that were bottlenecked and like just random stuff. And we were talking about that with the Champ Off-Road guys earlier today. And it like that race is just, it's something. It's if you're not a racer who's gonna race the race, you should definitely go out and at least run trails. Yeah, like if you got a trail card, go run trails. Yeah, go check it out. Like, because it's crazy. The race was a ton of fun, but I know even like Johnny G has said he loves going out there and just running trails. Yeah, like that's he's like that's my favorite part. Yeah, like the pre-running part of it, and that was like between actually racing and just going out and running trails. Like obviously the race was awesome, but going out there and running trails is just as fun in a lot of guys' eyes. Like, I loved it, and that's where I started. There's no pressure with it. And there's you're just out there having a good time with your friends and trying to find new lines and you know, find the fast line, you know, if you're a racer. And that's where I started, you know, coming up through like the Jeep game. You know, you're just out in the trails with your friends. Like we're not racing. Yeah, we're just out here having a good time. So that's what we did, and then I snowballed into racing. So it's like you kind of went the opposite direction. You know, and a lot of people are finding out that, oh shit, trail riding's fun. Yeah, like, which I don't do enough of. Like, good. I do a little bit. Like, well, there's great trails where you're from, bro. Oh, I know. Like you live in the mecca of trail riding. One of my buddies from ice racing, He's got a side-by-side, and I took my dad's Pro R out, and me and him just went bombing through trails that, because I don't know most of the trails around me because I just race pretty much. And he just took me through a bunch of trails and stuff, and some of it was single track, and I'm like, well, just over single track, like
Yeah.
just about 2-track.
Yeah.
And so a Pro R is obviously, I think it's the widest machine on the
I
market.
think they're 72 inches
Yeah,
wide, right?
I don't know if anything's wider than the Pro R, but it, like, I'm like, dude, I'm happy that I know what I'm doing, because if I didn't, I'd be in a tree right
Yeah.
now. Like,
Yeah, it's so weird that, you growing up in the UP of Michigan, you're from Escanaba.
yeah,
And you're like you just said, you're like, I don't really ride the trails.
yeah,
Dude, I used to go there as a kid to the UP just to ride the trails. Like, to think that I maybe know more of the trails than you.
Oh yeah,
is
you probably
wild.
do. Like,
And you're from
I know some of the trails up by our cabin, just because
Yeah,
growing up,
you've been there.
we would ride all the time.
Yeah.
We rode a good amount when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Like, we had a Ranger 800 that we just would go bomb around, and we'd go up to the restaurants and all kinds of stuff. We'd go up to Christmas and watch the races up there. But it's like, ever since we got into racing, funny enough, we stopped riding.
Yeah. Yep.
Because and stopped going up to our cabin.
Yeah.
Racing is taking over everything.
Taking over all of it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, sometimes you have to give up some of those luxuries to be like a professional. And I've said this to you before, like, whether you like it or not, you have to consider yourself a professional race car driver.
Yeah.
I mean, you're racing at a professional level at the peak of every racetrack. Like, you're a professional race car driver, and anybody who says you're not doing it.
No,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? And it feels weird to say that about yourself sometimes to people. They're like, oh, well, what do you do? I'm a pro racer. And it's like, well, have I seen you on TV? Well, no. It's like, this is like different style, and so it's kind of hard to say that. But I feel bad for people in the off-road industry too. Like, there's a lot of guys who put millions of dollars into this, and their whole life is revolved around it, and they feel bad to call themselves a pro racer.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, no,
I
you
know.
are a
Like,
professional race car driver. That's what you do. Just because you're not racing NASCAR or F1, doesn't mean you're not a pro racer.
I struggle with that a lot, because I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. I'm like, oh, I'm a pro racer.
Yeah,
like,
you don't have to be cocky about it, but definitely give yourself a pat on the back for what you do.
But and sometimes not that I'm hard on myself, but sometimes I think I'm like, really the only thing in the game is like mental, and that's what's so hard. It's like, because I mean, in a way, physical fitness helps out a ton
For sure.
but Joe Blow off the street can come, and if he knows a thing or two, he can still be fast.
Yeah.
And that's kind of for everything besides like dirt bikes and stuff. But it's like, it's so hard to be able to think of yourself as great when it's just mental. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird concept in my head, but I always think that I'm like, some random guy could just be going on it. And
Well, and there's something to be said about repetition too. Like, you've been doing it for a long time, since you were a little kid, and for someone like you said, the Joe Blow off the street, to come in and like maybe compete with you, I don't think that's possible. I really don't. Like, you may think that, and he may be like, get lucky, maybe get a lucky break or something. But as far as like the amount of time that you've put into this racing career, and your dad's put into this racing career, and there becomes a point where you've sharpened that knife.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, you guys know what to do. You know what to fix. You know what's going to break. You know what to look for. You know how to read a track. Like, you know how to hit your points on a track. And then we've talked about this coming up. I've always been like, not like coaching you, but like giving you little pointers. I'm like,
you were my original coach.
Yeah, go out there, breathe, calm, like, slow is fast, smooth is fast, like, get your marks. As soon as you get off into the freaking cushion, you're losing all your speed in a side-by-side. So, like, you've got to know your marks. You got to know where it's supposed to be. So, again, yes, Joe Blow could probably come off the street and maybe race some stuff and get lucky. But there's an art to it. Look at CJ. That's a perfect example. And him and his dad are two polar opposites. Him and, CJ and Johnny are two completely different driving styles, but they get the same result most of the time. CJ is calculated. The dude is a
Beyond belief.
laser focused, and he knows exactly where to hit every track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like that guy that's played that video game over and over and over and over
Yep.
again, and just knows it like the back of his hand.
Because he has for like
his whole life.
So he's raced short course for 15 years, but for the 8 years before, or 9 years before that, he was racing dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And he was amazing on a dirt bike, and he still is.
Yeah.
Like when we went down to Midwest Dirt Fest, he brought a pit bike along with, and they got a pit bike race there, and he was like, I'll go, I'll enter it, why not? And it's pretty easy to cut that track. Like it's just a stupid little track that they've got back there, and you just all the guys were taking shortcuts and stuff, and CJ didn't take a single shortcut the entire time, and whooped their asses off the couch, basically, on a pit bike. And he like, it was the dumbest thing ever. But like all these guys, they've got like modded out pit bikes, and he just shows up on a stock KLX 110 and whoops them.
It's all about knowing where to be, knowing where to put the power, you know, and those pit bikes are even worse because they're slow as shit. So you got to be dialed.
Weirdly enough, that's where I feel like a lot of, like, I know you preached to me for a long time of just, you got to ride, you got to have seat time, you got to have time on stuff. You've got, because that
doesn't even have to be a race car.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because that's where you develop your feel.
Yeah.
Like, feel is everything. And me and my dad were talking about that like last week or 2 weeks ago. Feel is the most important thing in racing. And that's, me and Bryce would go out and we'd run pit bikes for hours on end.
Good.
On our track back there when we were younger. And that's what really developed my feel. Like now I've got really good feel for everything that I ride, everything that I race. And once you get that feel, you really, your level changes. Like,
for sure. Yeah.
You go from, because I remember when I was really young running like kids carts and 170s and stuff, I had no feel. I was like 12 years old. I'm just going out there and putting the pedal down,
turning the wheel. Yeah. Pretty simple concept.
Just didn't know what I was doing. And then got to sportsman, and then I'm like, whoa, like I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, gotta lock in.
All of a sudden, that year we went through, and just I rode a lot. That, like, my first sportsman year, obviously you were on the crew that year.
Yeah.
And it was a learning year for sure.
You gotta have it though.
But that's exactly that. You gotta have that year where everything goes wrong at every point of the day.
Yeah. Well, that's like, there's I don't know who said it or what person said it. It's like, you can't have the good without the bad, man. Like there's people that are like spoon fed, they're like given every opportunity and like had no hardships. And it's like, they're the people who have been through the hard part are built different.
Exactly.
Like they have more drive. They know what it's like to be at the bottom.
And that's what I've, I got the opportunity to go to, this, youth training class that called Next Gen, run by Cole Dabler and Robert Nash, and they're both really good spotters in short course, and they invited me down to Lena to speak a little bit to these kids, because most of them are in a short course kart, a mod kart, a 170, 570, or a youth side-by-side. And 170, 570, short course kart, and to an extent youth side-by-side are all vehicles I've driven in.
Yeah.
And gone podiums in.
Yeah.
And so, like, I went there and they let me speak for a second, and I said, don't, like, I've sucked in the past. I've been horrible in the past.
Yeah.
But it's about the amount of time that you put in, the amount of work that you put in, how studious you are, how much you want it.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want it,
if you don't love the sport. Yeah.
Like, I love this sport, and I watch everything there is. Like,
same.
It doesn't matter what it is. If it's got 2 wheels, 4 wheels, 1 wheel, I'm probably watching it.
Yeah, same.
And you gotta be riding at all times.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I ice race in the winter.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, you've got that wonderful ice racing up there.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay far, far away from the ice racing, but it's
Hey,
sick though.
There's always bikes. We've got bikes up
I
there.
don't know. It's cold.
Gear up. Gear up.
Gear up. I do need to come up there. I do
back
want
in
to
the day, the old man, he'd just ride with a
Hey, I
ride with a
heard
sweatshirt.
I
That's
heard
all.
not too long ago that he got on a bike. Was it last winter he got on an ice
Winter,
bike?
got an ice bike
He went out there and did some laps.
out on the big 450.
He was telling me, he was like,
Yep.
man, I'm just not the same. You
No.
know, after, you look back
Yeah.
at your younger years, and he tells us all these stories about back in the day when
Yep.
they were riding bikes. And he's like, I thought I could just go back out there and jump back on and just rip it. And I'm sure he was probably pretty good, but
he
he said he felt that loss.
He was beating one guy for a while.
Was he?
Yeah.
One guy.
There's like 5 guys out there, but
Yeah.
it was like he had that going, and then but his real problem that day was just the wheel. The wheel was all messed up, and
Oh, really?
I think the tube ended up being just like, so when the person mounted the tire, the tube was just all at the bottom, like it was like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So it was like bouncing.
Yeah,
basically.
it was just hopping the entire time.
Oh yeah, that's
And
no good.
so that
Can't
just
have that.
screwed him over. But
Yeah.
and if it weren't for that, he probably would have done pretty decent.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to figure that out. Maybe we can come up and do some ice racing,
Yeah.
dude.
Well,
It
we
would
we
be-
got it figured out now because Jake Mishaw, he's been running bikes as well,
Is-
and he damn near won the C-Class championship
Jake's
in
a
his
freaking
first year.
tank, dude.
Yeah, dude.
He's
he's
your
a
full
rider.
time mechanic, right?
Nope, Nick is.
Oh, Nick is now.
Nick is the full-time guy.
Gotcha.
Jake and my other buddy Caden come along to the races though, and they help out. Obviously, Jake and Caden are full-time mechanics at the dealership.
Right.
Though.
Right.
So they go
Gotcha.
work on trail side by sides during that time, and then we ice race together in the winter, and then summertime they come chase me around all year.
Sick, dude. What a cool thing, though.
Yeah.
You're having fun with your friends. Man,
Uh-huh.
that's so cool. That's like really another part of it, you know? I tried to like figure out what I was going to do, and I just can't go away. Like, because all my friends are here, you know? This
Exactly.
is like my whole life. I've geared it around all this. so-
Everybody I know is.
yeah, I have
like-
to be involved.
I know so many people at this event right now.
Yeah, it's everywhere
Like-
I go. I'm like, oh hey,
Yeah,
oh hey, oh hey.
exactly.
Yeah, it's nuts.
And
Like,
it's
so I can't go
awesome.
away, even if I'm not going to race. I have to be involved with with this,
Exactly.
or
And that's
whatever
how I
it
feel.
is.
Like if in the future circumstances change and I'm not racing, I'm still gonna be here.
yeah, dude,
I'm
doing something.
still-
Yeah,
Whether I'm working for a company that is directly in racing, working for my dad who's directly in racing, like
well, you
whatever-
always got a spot on the
whatever it
podcast here,
is.
bro.
Exactly. Whatever it is, I'm gonna be in this industry.
yeah,
Like there's nothing that's gonna take that away from me.
dude, that's so good to hear. I'm glad you're doing it. What does 26 look like for you, buddy?
26 currently looks like running our XP 1000 in pro stock,
Mhm.
and hopefully by the end of the year running our Turbo R in pro side by side with, and in pro stock I'm hoping, because that's a difficult class. Like that is arguably one of the hardest, most stacked classes in the entire Champ off-road schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But my hope is I can get some top 5s, maybe a podium or 2 or so. But best case scenario would be walking away with 1 win on the year. That'd
got
be
that.
best case. That'd
You
be
got
best
that.
case.
You got that.
Because I'm looking forward to running that class. I got a lot of buddies in that class.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people in that class that I haven't raced against yet that I would love to race against.
Yeah.
Especially people like Jeb and CJ and Colin and all these different guys that run that class. I would love to run against them. And Jake Kosmecki,
See where
he's
you
been
stack up
he's
with
been
the
my
guys.
spotter for the past
Yeah.
couple years. I can't wait to race against him. Like,
Yeah.
that's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, racing
But
against the
it-
guy that's
yeah.
been telling you where to go for a
Exactly,
little while.
exactly.
You know all his tricks.
But it, like, because I know that was my issue in Pro-Am the past couple years. It's like, yeah, I've raced these guys for 3-4 years, but some of the guys, like, if I'm coming from the back to the front, I don't trust some of these dudes.
Yeah,
like,
it's a tough thing to be out in the back too.
Yeah.
Like we won't name names, but it's been
yeah,
there's some
exactly.
scary stuff
there's
going on back there.
there's some crazy things, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and that's where even like Colin, he's been like, why aren't you passing this guy in this corner? I'm like, I don't trust him.
I'm
Like,
scared.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can trust him. Like,
Yeah.
like, let's say you come up on Jeb. Yeah. If you go down in that corner and give him show your wheel on him, you can
He knows
trust
you're
him,
there. Yeah.
and you know that he's not just gonna go
Yeah. And turn down on
hit
you.
you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's guys out there that I'm scared of.
Yeah, they're out there just to wreck everybody, which is insane with the amount of money we spend on these cars. You know, you want to go out and have a good, clean race. I mean, you want to race hard.
Yeah.
You know, you don't mind bouncing off doors a little bit, but man, when these people are just out there intentionally turning into
it's
insane.
that's rough. Like,
it gets crazy. I don't know. I don't agree with any of that, but
I came from the back to the front so many times this year in Pro-Am that I think I've got the passing down.
Good.
I've done enough passing in this past year that
yeah. One of my friends once told me when we were racing dirt bikes back in the day, he said, dude, you've got the speed to hang with me all day long and to run at the top of this bracket. He's like, the one thing I see for you that you don't have is you don't have the ability to pass people. Yep. And that stuck with me for a long time because he was right. I found myself after he said it, I never noticed it, but I found myself getting behind a certain person who obviously was slower than me, but I would just hang out.
Yeah.
And you need to get around those people as soon as you can because they're holding you up from progressing up to the front of the field.
That's what I learned in Pro-Am was because I had that issue in Sportsman a little bit, but just the intensity that you have to show in Pro-Am, like once you're at that level, immediately it becomes hard not to pass people.
Yeah.
Because so the way the rules were this year, if you were first in, if you had the fastest lap in the previous race, you had to start 10th. And whoever had the 10th fastest lap had to start first. So I end up just, like, someone be like, oh, you remember that pass on this guy? And I'm like, what? No, not a clue. I don't even remember passing him because I was driving at such a level that he opened the door. I didn't even realize that I was doing it, and I was past him already.
Yeah.
And that, like, you get into a flow state that I get it every time I get in
it's great, isn't it?
A vehicle, like, ever since my first race. Well, not my first race, but probably my second one, because my first race I hit the snowbank every single time. But my second race probably, I've gotten into a flow state ever since.
Yeah.
And you start doing things and you don't know why you do them, but you just do them and you don't realize you do them.
Yeah, that's that second nature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing when you can lock in like that.
Yeah.
Kind of let everything go and you're so focused on that one thing. You know, we said that earlier. So, but dude, I'm trying to keep these under 30 minutes, not for any other reason, just to like give other people a chance.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so glad you came on.
Yeah,
I was so
fun.
glad to see you here. It's been a while, dude.
Yeah, dude.
We haven't hung out in forever. Like now that I'm not like racing short course and stuff, I'm never at your guys' place.
But I mean, I would love to do another thing like last year where you came up and just hung out for a while.
I know.
That was so much fun.
I need to.
Like,
yeah,
just hanging out with you all the time, and you were building the drift truck at the time.
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff.
That's right. That's right. You haven't seen it since it's been full built.
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's sick. It's insane. It's wild.
I'll
like
drive
you'd have
it
to
one
get
day.
in it. Yeah, you'll have to get in.
I'll have
spin
to
some
drive it
tires.
one day.
Spin some tires because it's a different feeling.
Yep.
Being able to just like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know, there's no track, so you can just spin and rip and go fast and e-brake. It's pretty fun.
And you got two-step on it, don't you?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
That's badass.
It's like just shy of like 400 horse on E85.
Holy
it's gnarly. It's gnarly. It's a wild ride. But dude, Ben Heiting with Race Driven, thank you for coming on here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Matt.
I'm always just blown away at your progression.
My adopted brother, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, almost family at this point. Yeah,
basically family.
Basically, yeah. What are you getting me for Christmas? You don't have to tell me now. Let Santa tell me.
Yep. Santa.
But dude, it's been sick. Thank you for coming on. Man. This has been awesome. Yeah. Let's go enjoy the rest of our PRI.
Will do.
And thanks everybody for watching. We'll see y'all later,
guys.
Thanks.